Welcome to the Beyond Being Good series of videos. In this episode, I want to speak with you about a concept called truth to power. Truth to power is the ability of people lower in a hierarchy to give honest feedback to people more senior in a hierarchy. Now, I'll ask you this question. Do you think for most people that you've met through your working life that that's an easy thing to do, to give honest feedback to people more senior in the hierarchy who have power and authority over them? Your response? No, it's not easy, it's hard. Now, the fact that it's hard for most people to give honest feedback to people more senior in a hierarchy that have power and authority to them, do you think that that's an issue for leaders? Of course it is. Because the information, part of the information that you're using to make decisions at this level comes from the people that are in the hierarchy below you. Now, if you are not getting the honest and truth from them, if they're telling you what they think you want to hear or they're just telling you untruths, then that's going to be part of the information you're using to make decisions, which means you're at risk as a leadership team or as a leader yourself of making decisions that aren't going to help you be as effective as you'd like to be, and therefore you won't be a high-performing leader nor a high-performing team. So it's absolutely critical that you enhance truth to power as much as possible. In another episode, we've spoken about mental models. Some people's mental model, when they're in this position in the hierarchy, is that they can't possibly be honest to the senior leaders, because if they are, if we really tell them what's going on, bad things will happen to me and my career and my security here will be impacted. So we've got to recognise that it's really hard for people to do it. And we shouldn't get too upset if we find out that they're not doing it as much as that we would like. Over time, we've got to build a culture that continually enhances people having the confidence that they can speak truth to power. So what can you do about this? Well, here's 4 things that you can do to help enhance truth to power in your organisation and for you as a leader. What you need to do is create as many opportunities as possible to hear what people have to say. So whether that be through social media, internally in your organisation, through an intranet, through going out and seeing people face to face. One of the shows that I like a lot is Undercover Boss. And one of the interesting factors I find with that Undercover Boss is that to a person, the bosses always say, gee, I learned so much more about my organisation by going to the front line and actually spending some time with the real people. And they find out information about their organisation that they didn't know. And it really makes me scratch my head. Why aren't leaders doing that anyway? Now, clearly you can't be out the front line all the time because you need to do your job. But you definitely need to be out there some of the time. You have to have a true sense of what's going on, and often just by physically going out there. It could be just sitting down and having coffees with people, and the first time they might not be going to tell you very much, but the 10th time when they've come to learn and trust you, they will probably start telling you a lot. Second thing to do is maintain your awareness of your response to feedback. Now, this can be really, really difficult, because if you are open to truth to power, you have to be prepared to be told things that you don't like. Maybe something that you thought had been resolved is actually not resolved. Maybe a project that you'd been involved in and had your heart and soul in and spent 12 or 18 months rolling out throughout the organisation has had absolutely no impact at the front line. Now, that's going to be hard to hear, but if it's true, you need to know so that you can do something about it. So you have to be open to the fact that you're going to get feedback that you don't like. So maintain your awareness of how you react to feedback, because if your initial reaction and response is very negative, people will stop telling you, and that's not going to be helpful for your leadership. The third thing to do is to be acutely aware of the evidence that you have in fact listened to feedback that people have given you over time. Because people will say things like, nothing ever changes around here. When we tell you things, nothing ever changes. You never do anything with it. Now, clearly, you're not going to always do changes as a result of the feedback that you get. You've got to understand probably at least 1/3 of the feedback you get is caused by staff misunderstanding something. So you need to help them understand, but in a way that helps them save face, so you're not always necessarily going to change just because of the information that you've been given. So sometimes it's not going to be accurate information either, but if that's people's perception, you need to do something about the perception. So you need to also be aware of, well, this time we got told this and this is what we did, and this time we got told that and that is what we did. So you need to have that evidence to show people, hey, look, it might not be 100% of the time that things change in your mind, but there are actually a lot of things that we have changed as a result of you telling us. And that's why you having the stories of your staff telling you what you need to listen to, and then listening to it and then making changes, which then gets results. That whole loop of stories is critical in you being able to enact this third point of enhancing truth to power. And the fourth one is never, ever, ever shoot the messenger when they tell you something that you don't like to hear. If you do that, you will completely undermine truth to power in your organisation. And no doubt, in your experience over time, you've experienced when that's happening. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So if you want to move beyond being good and be the best leader that you can be, then it's critical that you understand truth to power and increase truth to power in your leadership and your organisation. Once again, I look forward to working with you next time.